Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Beyond the Gates channel. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe and hit like for more daily drama updates and spoilers. Your support truly means a lot and helps our channel grow every day. Now let's jump straight into today's exciting update. Naomi has carried a devastating burden in silence for far too long, and now the walls protecting her carefully guarded secret are beginning to crack. As another dramatic day unfolds in Fairmont Crest, the emotional weight that has been building for months threatens to spill into the open, promising life-changing consequences for everyone caught in its path. The spoilers for Thursday, July 9th, hint that a truth buried deep within the Dupree family may finally be revealed, and if that prediction proves true, it will be a moment many have been waiting for since this heartbreaking storyline first began. Fairmont Crest has never been short on dangerous secrets, shocking betrayals, and family scandals, but this hidden truth has lingered quietly beneath the surface, growing heavier with every passing day. It has never been the loudest or most explosive secret in town, yet its emotional impact may ultimately prove just as powerful because it strikes at the very heart of one family's love, trust, and future. The painful story reaches back to the moment Anita learned she was battling breast cancer, a diagnosis that forever changed the lives of the Dupree women. Faced with frightening uncertainty, the family made the difficult decision to undergo testing to determine whether they carried the BRCA gene, hoping the results would offer answers about their own futures. It was an emotional period filled with fear, anxiety, and hope, as every family member waited to discover whether the devastating genetic risk would continue through the next generation. But while everyone else believed they were sharing the truth together, Naomi quietly made a decision that would haunt her for months. Rather than revealing the reality of her own test results, she told her loved ones that she had tested negative, allowing them to believe that the hereditary cancer risk had stopped with Anita and Dani. In reality, Naomi had received the same heartbreaking result as her mother. She carried the BRCA gene as well. For reasons that seemed understandable only to her, she buried that truth, convincing herself that keeping silent was somehow the better choice, even as the lie slowly became impossible to escape. As time passed, Anita found comfort in believing that future generations might be spared from the painful legacy she carried, while Dani especially found peace in thinking the family's nightmare had finally reached its end. That belief became a source of strength during difficult moments, allowing mother and daughter to imagine a future where the burden of inherited illness would no longer threaten those they loved. Yet all the while, Naomi lived with the crushing knowledge that their comfort rested upon a falsehood she had created herself. Every family gathering, every reassuring conversation, and every hopeful smile became another reminder that she was carrying a secret capable of shattering the fragile peace surrounding the Dupree family. What may have begun as an attempt to protect the people she loved gradually transformed into an emotional prison, trapping Naomi beneath the weight of guilt, fear, and the constant anxiety that the truth would eventually come out. With every passing day, the silence only grew louder inside her heart. Now, the moment of reckoning finally appears to have arrived. Thursday's episode brings an admission that sends shockwaves through those closest to Naomi, leaving both Dani and Jacob utterly reeling from what they hear. The weekly preview offers a glimpse of the emotionally charged confrontation, teasing a scene filled with vulnerability and painful honesty. Naomi finally looks at her mother and confesses that she has been lying to her husband for months, words that carry the unmistakable weight of someone who can no longer bear the burden alone. The emotional strain has clearly been consuming her, and the attorney who normally projects confidence and control now appears exhausted by the secret she has struggled to protect. Every expression, every hesitant word, and every emotional pause suggests that this deception has taken an enormous toll on her spirit. If Dani and Jacob truly are left shaken by what Naomi reveals, then this may not be a partial confession at all. It could be the moment she finally tells the complete truth. Such a revelation would instantly change the emotional landscape of the Dupree family. Trust, once broken, is never easily repaired, especially when the deception concerns something as deeply personal and life-altering as a family's medical future. Anita may struggle to understand why her daughter chose to remain silent during one of the family's most vulnerable chapters, while Dani could find herself wrestling with heartbreak, disappointment, and sympathy all at once. Jacob will undoubtedly have his own painful questions after learning that the woman he loves has hidden such an enormous truth from him for months. The revelation has the potential to reshape every important relationship in Naomi's life, forcing everyone to confront not only the lie itself, but also the fear and emotional desperation that inspired it. In many ways, the confession may become only the beginning of a much longer journey toward healing, forgiveness, and rebuilding the trust that has quietly been slipping away. As this emotional storm unfolds, another significant development arrives for Anita and Vernon, adding yet another layer of anticipation to an already unforgettable day. The beloved family elders receive a major life update from one of their grandchildren, bringing fresh excitement and curiosity into the household. One likely possibility centers on Kat, whose impulsive personality recently led her to purchase a condo of her own. If she decides it's finally time to leave her grandparents' home and begin the next chapter of her independent life, the announcement will undoubtedly stir mixed emotions throughout the family. Pride and happiness will mingle with the bittersweet realization that another generation is stepping forward into adulthood. Yet this may not be the only important news Anita and Vernon receive. If Naomi's confession spreads quickly through the family, as secrets in Fairmont Crest so often do, the grandparents could find themselves processing two life-changing revelations almost simultaneously, one filled with hope for the future and another shadowed by painful uncertainty. Meanwhile, across another branch of the family, concern begins to grow over someone else's future as Samantha delivers troubling news that immediately captures Martin and Smitty's attention. Their worries center on Terrell, whose life seemed to be moving in such a hopeful direction only moments before. Having apparently graduated, Terrell has every reason to celebrate, imagining a carefree summer spent creating unforgettable memories with Jessica before the next stage of their lives begins. Like so many young couples standing at the edge of adulthood, he dreams of holding on to the happiness they have built together, despite the challenges waiting just beyond the horizon. More than anything, Tyrell hopes he can convince Jessica to reconsider her plans to attend UCLA. He desperately wants her to remain close to home so their relationship won't become another casualty of distance, believing that love can still win if only they stay together. His dreams are simple, heartfelt, and painfully relatable, making the possibility of losing them even more heartbreaking. That is precisely why Samantha's unexpected news sends waves of anxiety through Martin and Smitty. Whatever she reveals appears closely connected to Tyrell and Jessica's uncertain future, raising fears that the young couple may already be heading toward an unavoidable separation. Dreams built during one season of life often collide with difficult realities in the next, and first love is frequently tested by ambitions, opportunities, and the demands of growing up. If Jessica remains committed to her plans for UCLA, Tyrell may soon find himself facing an emotional crossroads he never wanted to encounter. Martin and Smitty can only watch as someone they deeply care about struggles with choices that no parent or loved one can make on his behalf. Their concern reflects not only the uncertainty surrounding Terrell's romance, but also the painful understanding that growing up often means accepting losses no one can prevent. As worry settles over the family, the pressing question becomes what Martin and Smitty will do next, and whether their guidance can help Tyrell navigate the emotional challenges that seem destined to shape the course of his future. Naomi's confession is unlikely to end with the words she speaks. Once a secret this significant escapes into the open, it develops a life of its own, moving through the Dupree family with unstoppable momentum and forcing every person connected to it to confront emotions they have spent years trying to avoid. The silence that once protected Naomi will suddenly be replaced by difficult conversations, unanswered questions, and deeply personal reflections about trust, fear, and family loyalty. Those closest to her may initially struggle to understand why she chose deception over honesty, especially when the truth involved something that could affect not only her own future, but the future of everyone who loves her. Yet beneath the disappointment lies another painful reality. Naomi never appeared to lie out of malice. Instead, every sign points toward a woman who became overwhelmed by fear, convinced that carrying the burden alone would somehow spare the people she cared about from additional pain. Unfortunately, the longer that burden remained hidden, the heavier it became, until the emotional weight threatened to crush her from within. For Anita, the revelation promises to be especially heartbreaking because it forces her to revisit one of the darkest chapters of her life. Her battle with breast cancer was never simply a personal struggle. It became a family crisis that united generations through fear, hope, and resilience. Learning that Naomi quietly carried the very same genetic risk all along could leave Anita questioning every reassuring conversation they shared after the testing was complete. She may wonder whether there were moments when her daughter wanted to tell the truth but simply couldn't find the courage. Even more painful is the realization that while Anita believed she was protecting her family by facing her illness with strength, Naomi was silently fighting a battle of her own. Mother and daughter could soon find themselves standing on opposite sides of overwhelming emotions, each believing they were trying to protect the other, while both suffered alone in heartbreaking silence. It is exactly the kind of emotional collision that has the power to redefine an entire family's future. Dani's reaction could be just as emotionally charged, though for very different reasons. For months, she found genuine comfort in believing the inherited cancer risk had ended with her generation. That belief offered hope during moments when fear threatened to return, allowing her to imagine that the younger women in the family might be spared from the uncertainty she and Anita had endured. Discovering that this sense of security was built upon Naomi's deception may leave Dani feeling betrayed, confused, and deeply saddened all at once. Yet beneath those emotions lies another difficult truth. She also understands better than most how terrifying such a diagnosis or genetic result can be. That shared understanding could eventually become the bridge leading them back toward one another, but the path to forgiveness is rarely immediate. Before healing can begin, every painful emotion will have to surface, and every difficult question will need to be answered with complete honesty. Jacob may find himself facing one of the hardest conversations of his marriage. Naomi's admission that she has been lying to her husband for months suggests that this secret has quietly existed between them throughout countless ordinary days, hidden behind smiles, routines, and everyday conversations. Trust is often built through countless small moments, but it can be shaken by a single hidden truth, especially one carrying such enormous consequences. Jacob will likely struggle not only with the information itself, but also with the realization that Naomi carried this burden without allowing him to stand beside her. As shock begins to settle into painful reflection, he may wonder whether there are other fears she has been hiding or whether this was the only wall she built between them. Their marriage now stands at a crossroads where vulnerability, forgiveness, and complete honesty may become their only path forward. Whether their bond grows stronger or weaker will depend on what happens after the confession, not simply because the secret existed, but because of how both of them choose to face its aftermath together. While emotions continue to swirl around Naomi's revelation, Anita and Vernon find themselves balancing another significant family milestone that reminds everyone life continues moving forward even during moments of crisis. News from one of their grandchildren offers a welcome contrast to the heartbreak unfolding elsewhere in the family. If Kat's exciting announcement involves leaving home after purchasing her own condo, it represents another major step into adulthood and independence. Vernon and Anita will likely feel an overwhelming mixture of pride and nostalgia as they realize another generation is beginning to build lives of their own. Watching grandchildren spread their wings is always an emotional experience, filled with excitement for new beginnings while quietly mourning the end of another familiar chapter. Yet the timing could hardly be more complicated, because the joy of celebrating one family member's achievement may quickly become overshadowed by the painful truth emerging from Naomi's confession. Should Naomi's secret spread through the Dupree family as quickly as many expect, Anita and Vernon may find themselves experiencing two life-changing emotional extremes within a matter of hours. One conversation celebrates growth, independence, and exciting possibilities for the future, while the next forces them to confront fear, uncertainty, and painful questions about the family's health. Such emotional contrasts have always defined life in Fairmont Crest, where moments of happiness and heartbreak often arrive hand in hand. The grandparents will undoubtedly try to remain the steady foundation their family depends upon, offering wisdom and reassurance, even while processing their own complicated emotions. Their strength has guided the Dupree family through countless storms before, but this latest challenge may test even their remarkable resilience. Sometimes the greatest burden carried by family elders is not solving every problem, but simply remaining strong enough to keep everyone together while the storm passes. Elsewhere, another emotional storyline quietly gains momentum as Tyrell stands on the edge of an exciting new chapter that may already be slipping beyond his control. Graduation should represent freedom, celebration, and endless possibilities, and Tyrell enters the summer determined to make every moment count alongside Jessica. He dreams of creating memories that will last long after the season ends, hoping their love can survive the major life changes waiting just around the corner. Yet beneath those hopeful plans lingers an unmistakable fear that time is running out. Jessica's future appears to be pulling her toward UCLA, while Tyrell desperately hopes their relationship can convince her to remain closer to home instead. His optimism reflects the determination of someone unwilling to surrender the person he loves without a fight, even as reality threatens to pull them in different directions. Samantha's unexpected update casts a long shadow over those hopes, leaving Martin and Smitty increasingly worried about what lies ahead for Tyrell. Whatever she reveals seems serious enough to convince them that the young couple's future together may be hanging by a thread. Distance has challenged countless relationships before, and Martin and Smitty understand that dreams, education, and personal ambitions often demand sacrifices that no one truly wants to make. Watching Tyrell prepare for the possibility of losing Jessica is painful because they know some life lessons cannot be avoided, no matter how much guidance or support they offer. Their concern is rooted not only in protecting his heart, but also in helping him understand that life's greatest opportunities sometimes arrive alongside its greatest heartbreaks. As Thursday's emotional episode draws closer, every storyline appears to be building toward deeply personal turning points, ensuring that secrets, family bonds, hope, and heartbreak will collide in ways that could permanently reshape the lives of everyone living in Fairmont Crest.